What the hell?
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 Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? Our weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on stevestebbing.ca. And this week we have the return to Runway. After 20 years, you'll get what I'm talking about. And you'll either be with me or against me, I guess, as well as an Irish horror film that may be the first legitimate scare of 2026. I dig into those, as well as a couple of streaming picks that I have been teasing for weeks now. They've just been sitting in the chamber, so I now can finally fire them off. Let's get it all started right now. All right, first up, 20 years after The Devil Wears Prada came out, we finally get a sequel, which is more like a hell has frozen over type of thing. I'll get into that in a second. But this is a return that I feel like a lot of fans have been waiting for. This is The Devil Wears Prada 2. Andy Sachs reunites with Miranda Priestly as they navigate their careers amid the decline of traditional magazine publishing. Starring Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, Justin Theroux, Kenneth Branagh, and Stanley Tucci. Directed by David Frankel. So I guess we kind of got to let the cat out of the bag early on this, because I'm actually a fan of the first film and actually have it as part of my collection. But only on DVD at this point. I have not made the upgrade to Blu-ray yet. But I enjoyed the first film quite a bit. And I feel, for me, a sequel that comes so long after the original film, I feel like the first thing it needs to do is justify itself. And this film manages to do that within the first few minutes of the film, kind of addressing the crisis that journalism is in right now, as well as addressing how magazines have to come differently away from the printed page, the glossy printed page, and more to the digital hollow consumption of apps and Instagram and content. And I find that very interesting because both Andy and Miranda are going through very similar experiences in their own respective levels. And the great thing for at least the core four, being Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Stanley Tucci, and Emily Blunt, is they all slip back into the roles that they played. I think this was one of the first high profile roles for Emily Blunt, I think, in her career. It's the first real thing I remember her from. And they're able to do a bit more emotional lifting with their characters, a little bit more exploration of their characters. The one in the cast I think that really gets to do the most is Meryl Streep's portrayal of Miranda Priestly, because there is more of a softer, in her own way, a softer core to this character, a more, emotionally relatable focus on this. And I'm probably giving this a deeper dive than a lot of people are expecting. But I came away at the Devil Wears Prada 2 of really kind of enjoying the film and enjoying the beats of where it went. And revisiting these characters, I've said on radio that Anne Hathaway, this portrayal, this character, Andy Sachs, is probably one of my favorite things that she's done in her career. I really enjoy the humor and the heart that she gives Andy's character. And I won't even lie, there are obvious sappy beats in the kind of ending piece to the film that kind of got me in the heartstrings. And I enjoyed it for what it is. MVP of this film for me is Stanley Tucci's character, Nigel, who is kind of the nucleus of everything that happens within this film. So I have to give a shout out to the Tooch because he kicks ass. He really, really does kick ass. But it's the whole original creative team. The original screenwriter, the original director is David Frankel. So it's really kind of the reunion of everybody to make this film. And I think that it worked out in the end for everybody because I think it's a very solid film. And this is really only aimed at the people that enjoyed the first film. And I think it very much succeeds there. Let's get some nerdy bits here. The score for this one is done by Theodore Shapiro, a composer that I've already talked about on this show before with his score of The Housemaid. And I believe there was something before that as well. Next up, he has Focker-in-Law, which has actually already debuted its first trailer. Ariana Grande joining in for the sequel. I'm kind of looking forward to that one low key, just because I think Ariana Grande has great comedic timing. Something I've also said on this show before. It was shot by Florian Ballhaus, who I talked about with the Netflix film Nonas, starring Vince Vaughn. And some trivia here, and what I kind of alluded to with the intro of this film, the hell freezes over type of, I guess I made an Eagles reference there, but it happened. But the reason it took 20 years was that Meryl Streep prefers not to do any sequels to her own work. Her only other sequel, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, was released 10 years after the original, and she only agreed if her role was reduced. It repeatedly took many years of negotiation and salary offers before Streep would commit to do Devil Wears Prada 2. And in the intervening years, she, Anne Hathaway, and Emily Blunt have all been quoted as saying that this sequel is unlikely to happen. Here we are. Another thing that I didn't know, Stanley Tucci is actually married to Felicity Blunt, which is Emily Blunt's sister. And in order to focus on this movie, Anne Hathaway had to postpone development on The Princess Diaries 3. Hathaway has called revisiting these characters from early in her career as her own Eras tour, like Taylor Swift. One of 5 movies starring Anne Hathaway to be released this year. One of them has already come. I reviewed it last week, Mother Mary. But also upcoming is Verity, The End of Oak Street, which is David Robert Mitchell's new film, as well as Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which just actually released a trailer today as I'm recording it. And people are divided about it, but I'm psyched because it's fucking Nolan. How can you be anything but psyched? Because Nolan's still so genius. And yes, I'm a film nerd about it. But I don't know. This is, again, a film with a built-in audience to it. So if you are a fan of the first film, if you like watched it for a movie and weren't skewed by it being a chick flick or anything like that, you will enjoy this movie. And the audience that's not going to see it is just not going to watch this one. All right, let's move on to something that is just spine tingling fun, and I'm not being super cheesy about it because this movie actually got me a few times. This one's called Hokum. A horror writer visits an Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes, unaware the property is said to be haunted by a witch. Starring Adam Scott, Peter Coonan, David Wilmot, Florence Ordash, Michael Patrick, Will O'Connell, Brendan Conroy, and Austin Amelio. Written and directed by Damian McCarthy. This trailer already creeps the hell out of me. It is such an effective one to show immediate atmosphere right out of the gate. And it just feels like one of those films that will make me get on the edge of my seat or curl up in the fetal position like Hereditary did. And while it didn't get me to that level, it got some serious jolts out of me because Damian McCarthy has such a insidiously creepy vision that he wants executed. And there's certain things within Hokum that follow this to a T. His uber creepy previous film, Oddity, has a wooden doll that is nightmarish and something that kind of lingers with you a bit. And there is a presence or there's a visual in this film that will also stick with me in the jolt creepiness of it and just the shock, this residual shock of it. And Hokum is the closest thing in 2026 to a film that really elicited a horror reaction out of me. I think it is kind of diabolically creepy, and Damian McCarthy is absolutely 3 for 3 at this point. He has certain themes and imagery that he loves to include in his films. Rabbits being a big thing in his imagery wheelhouse, and used quite effectively. I don't mind it at all. And there's also themes within relationships between men and women that seems to be a theme with McCarthy as well. But the setup is Adam Scott does not play a nice guy or a good guy. He is cantankerous and rude and antisocial asshole. And he plays the character very, very well. And to be honest, coming off of Lee Cronin's The Mummy, this felt so fucking refreshing as a horror film, and one that I feel like set out to do certain things and succeeded big time, because Hokum might go down as one of my favorite films of 2026 so far. And at May now, I feel like we're far enough into the year that I can make bigger declarations like this. So let's get into some of the nerdy bits about this film. The score for this was done by Joseph Bishara, who is the guy who usually works with James Wan, and on camera as well, as he's played certain demons and stuff within the Insidious movies and the Conjuring ones. But most notably, he is the red-faced demon that appears behind Patrick Wilson in probably one of the greatest modern jump scares of all time, I would say, at this point. But Bashara also did the score in television for the Pretty Little Liars spin-off, Original Sin, as well as the horror docuseries Eli Roth's History of Horror. But the main takeaway from all of this is Hokum is a film that's worth your time, worth your dollar. I don't want to get too deep into the story or any of the plot points, as it's a film that you need to kind of let wash over you. But it's beautifully shot, and Damian McCarthy is a voice that I'm finally glad has now hit the wide theatrical release realm. Neon has put the trust in this film, and is pushing it big time, and they can push it to the moon because it is an absolute horror experience to the core, and I dug the hell out of this film. All right, I got sent something new on Blu-ray, so let's check it out. Yes, Lionsgate has certain studios within their releasing umbrella, and they email me with requests to cover certain movies that I probably wouldn't have unless I wouldn't have gone out of my way to check out, mostly because I have certain beliefs on these films, and none of them have I have certain beliefs on these type of films as far as quality and storytelling goes, and at this point they haven't broken that belief, so might as well just get into it. This one's I Can Only Imagine 2. Bart Millard, lead singer of Mercy Me, faces a personal crisis at the peak of his success. As his world unravels, he struggles with his beliefs and inner demons while seeking a path through adversity. Starring John Michael Finley, Milo Ventimiglia, Sophie Skelton, Ariel Kebbel, Sammy Dell, Trace Adkins, and Dennis Quaid. Written and directed by Andrew Irwin and Brett McCorkle. Faith-based movies. Notably, this one is from the Kingdom Story Company, I think they're called. And they've made films like Jesus Revolution and other stuff, ones that have been sent to me to cover. And it just always ends up being the same. Even in this film, Milo Ventimiglia is not a Christian actor or anything. He's kind of the guy they brought in to boost up the cast, I think. And I like Milo a lot, but this movie just wasn't it, because it just always comes off so heavy-handed in delivering a message rather than delivering a good story, one that I can get behind, and not feel like I'm being handed a pamphlet to exercise my own demons. It's a little much. I just want the storytelling to improve, because maybe there'll be a broader appeal, but it just feels like there's much more of an agenda to these films, and much more of an agenda than you would see in any queer community movie or trans community movie or anything like that. This one feels more in line with trying to recruit people, more concerned with doing that than it is telling a story. So that's kind of really, really unfortunate. I wish I had more to say about this film, but it just, for any good original beast this film makes, there are so many extra scenes that stomp out that fire, and really, really unfortunate. Always appreciate a free Blu-ray, but this one just wasn't it for me. Alrighty, let's get to a couple films that, like I said at the top of this show, I've been teasing these ones for a while, but they're on this week's streaming pile. Yes, I can finally get to a couple of films that probably you streamed weeks ago, but I have my thoughts on it, especially this one. This one has so many little nerdy things within the filmmaking that really tickled me. But at the same time, it just had good comedy to it with a couple dependables. This one is Mike and Nick and Alice. Two friends navigate the dangerous world of organized crime, testing their loyalty and survival skills as they get deeper into the criminal underworld. Starring Vince Vaughn, James Marsden, Isa Gonzalez, Keith David, and Jimmy Tatro. written and directed by Ben David Grabinski, available on Disney Plus. That write-up is the fucking worst. It is so vague and not exactly what this film is all about. What that write-up is failing to tell you is that this is a time travel film. And it's a pretty sneaky time travel movie at that, because it's basically presented through Vince Vaughn's character. And I think in a world where there have been great time travel movies and very terrible time travel movies, this film lands in the surprisingly good time travel movie category, which I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to using this trope in films, and I've had taken issue with many a film over the process over the years. And I really feel Ben David Grabinski's film nerd come through in this movie and makes me appreciate it all that more. There are weird rants that happen in this movie, like one that's fully Gilmore Girls orientated, which really cracked me up. There are Mortal Kombat, the original movie from the mid 90s, music cue from that floored me, absolutely floored me, using a techno song from 1995 in his movie for an action sequence is just absolutely hilarious in my opinion. And an insanely funny Dave Matthews Band needle drop that I think is absolutely brilliant. The top three principal cast are really great together, really great chemistry. Vince Vaughn is a proven veteran, as is James Marsden, and Isa Gonzalez does more than hold her own in this film as well. For me, the outside MVP of this movie is Jimmy Tatro, who plays the recently released Jimmy Boy from prison. And his night goes from elating to this elated to have this party and everything, to learning things that have happened while he's in prison that slowly make his life absolute shit, or seemingly absolute shit. And I think it's really funny and good redemption from Scream 7, where he was in the opening scene. But honestly, I think this movie really works in a lot of fun ways. And it is one of those streaming films that if you've bounced past it a few times, because it was being heavily advertised on Disney Plus, and haven't watched it yet, I think it is well worth spending some time, press and play, and checking it out, because I think Grabinski kind of nailed a film that is just an audience film through and through, and gives some good laughs out of you, some good thrills, and some good heart in this film as well, which was a little surprising. Some of the cast members that I didn't get to mention in the first part there, Arturo Castro, who appears in Broad City, among other great things. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, Louis Tan is in this film. Stephen Root was in this one. Dolph Lundgren is in this film very quickly. Ben Schwartz, Emily Hampshire from Schitt's Creek, Dylan Playfair from Letterkenny, and Ellen Wong from Scott Pilgrim, played Knives Chow. But let's get some nerdy bits out of the way, as the score for this one was done by Joseph Trepanese, who I talked about with the Prime Video action film G20. But next, he's doing the score for Brian Duffield's new movie, which is called Whale Fall. And just Google this, the write-up for this film. It's so random to me. And it was shot by Larry Fong, who unfortunately shot the A24 comedy horror Death of a Unicorn, which is wasn't very good. It was a very, very disappointing film, in my opinion. A little bit of trivia that I found on this movie that I found really interesting. In the opening scene, the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42 associated with the series Lost are written on a chalkboard with a message below reading, "Do not use," which I think is pretty fucking funny. And like I said, that whole movie and TV nerd aspect to Grabinski, it's on display right there. Also with this one, Jimmy Boy's back tattoo reading, "It's all in the reflexes," references a recurring line spoken by Kurt Russell's character in Big Trouble in Little China. Kurt Russell's character of Jack Burton, the owner of the Pork Chop Express, which is coincidentally, I believe it's one of Ben David Grabinski's favorite films. So that works there. And much like there was an homage in the film Heart Eyes, this film has a tribute to podcaster and entertainment journalist Scott Wampler, because the hospital in this film is Wampler Memorial. So that's a sweet little tribute. And yeah, just a fun movie. There's not much depth to it beyond that. Like I said, it's got a little heart and soul to it that shines through here and there, but mostly it is a time travel action movie and plays with those tropes quite well. And I really dug it on that level for sure. And finally, I mean, we already had Ballerina with Anna de Armas, so we've seen a dancer kick ass. So why not see a whole troupe of teen ones do the same in a Russian hotel? This one is pretty lethal. It follows a group of ballerinas as they try to escape from a remote inn after their bus breaks down on the way to a dance competition. Starring Iris Apatow, Lana Condor, Millicent Simmons, Avantika, Madeline Ziegler, and Uma Thurman. Directed by Vicky Jewison. Available on Prime Video. I mean, I don't really have a super amount to say about this film. This is from this David Leitch's production company. And this is, that kind of action stylized film where the stunt people are hard at work and the action means more than any of the story, because some of the frustrating choices in this film just are just ones you just have to let wash over you. Like, why did they make the deaf girl Millicent Simmons character such a boy dope? Like, it doesn't even, it's so dumb. It's just dumb of her, how much she overlooks just for a cute boy. It's just stupid shit. And I'll say it, even the razor blade in the ballet slipper is also super ridiculous. Does it look cool on camera? Yes, it does look pretty cool on camera, and it's cool to see real dancers like Condor and Ziegler get to use their original skill to, their original before acting skill to highlight a action movie that is only visually entertaining and just kind of cliched and a little dumb elsewhere. Way lesser than the previous film that I just talked about. This is not good fluff. This is mediocre to less than mediocre as far as storytelling wise. It's just not all there. But Uma Thurman is having a bit of fun as your quasi villain of this film. But it's just all so ridiculous and cliched and over the top. But still, I'm not mad at it for watching it. It's just not great. Let's get some nerdy bits out of the way. The score was done by Paul Leonard Morgan, who did a film on Netflix, actually, that Chloe talked about just recently. Louis Theroux's Inside the Manosphere. I did that, as well as Limitless with Bradley Cooper, and Dread, the fantastic Dread, the film that was ghost directed by Alex Garland. Carl Urban action masterpiece that demands a sequel that we'll never get. But also shot for television, Tales from the Loop for Prime Video, and episodes of Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland, a show that admittedly I have never seen before, but did enough to do 3 or 4 seasons. I feel like it was a sizable network television hit for a bit. But Pretty Lethal, if you've already skipped by this film was released far back enough that it's probably just going to fall off the charts completely. So if you haven't watched it yet, or it hasn't piqued your interest in any sort of action way, you're probably not going to watch it. All right, I added some cool stuff to my library, so I just want to show it off. So right, new to the library, and this first one is just for the kids, and it is just pure ridiculousness in every way, and it's animated and it's fun and it's a complete series. It's The Amazing World of Gumball, a show that I think I've seen a good long chunk of due to its running in syndication on Teletoon back in the day, and both my kids loved the show. 2 different generations that really picked up on the insanity of this one. But the great thing about Gumball is it's also kind of funny to an adult in a very SpongeBob ridiculous sort of way. It fits into the stoner comedy. It just happens to be a kids show. And honestly, isn't that always the way? Just we kind of gravitate towards it. Also, I got The Thing About Pam, which is based on a true story comedy crime series with Renee Zellweger under crazy amounts of makeup, looking very different for this one. I saw that this one actually aired as a network television series, but now got released on Blu-ray, so I'm very interested to check that one out. Speaking of animated stuff for the kids, I also got Voltron Legendary Defender, which I believe was made for Netflix. This is the complete series, and so if this was indeed made for Netflix, like I just insinuated it was, this is another great example of things made for streaming that are now getting released on physical disc, something that I am a huge proponent of supporting, because I will forever be all about physical copies and how special they are to me, my collection and everything. So the fact that if there was a technology ending bomb, I would still have a physical record of everything, which sounds fucking dumb once I say it out loud, but I still stand behind it. But Voltron Legendary Defender, it is a redo of a series that I loved as a kid. I even had books of it. I had the toys. I was all about that show. It's predates Power Rangers. It's probably the reason why I accepted Power Rangers when it came out. But I really digged Voltron. So, and I don't think I've seen the new series, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. And finally, you're going to have to go back to 2000 to have originally seen this one. It is called Groove. It is a film basically about rave culture. And this one's out on 4K, and it kind of reminds me of Sony releasing American Movie on 4K, where they're just kind of these lo-fi films that are now being presented in a high def picture on your 4K player. And it seems kind of counterintuitive in some degree, but I also appreciate it in other degrees, especially the 4K discs, because I believe they're the most durable representation of disc movies at this point. Unless somebody says I'm wrong in the comments, please tell me I'm wrong. Because I would love to be corrected on that if I am wrong, because I put a lot. I put a lot of effort into 4K now, I guess. But when Gru was on the select sheet to order, I was like, yeah, I don't believe I've actually ever seen this movie, and it's an early Hamish Linklater performance. And between Midnight Mass and Cypher in Gen V, sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely into that. Alrighty, we're about to get out of here, but I got a few reminders. Yes, out now, and it's on 4K. Actually, I have the 4K, and it is gorgeous. I love it. But good luck, have fun, don't die. Sam Rockwell's new film, directed by Gore Verbinski. This is a wild time loop movie, and like I said earlier about the last time travel movie, I'm a real stickler for some of this shit, so it's really got to work, and this one really works. It might be one of the best films of 2026 so far, but I reviewed it on the February 13th episode, so check it out there. Also on 4K is Cold Storage. Joe Keery, Georgina Campbell, and Liam Neeson, and Leslie Manville. What the fuck's going on in this cast? Either way, it's a fun, gross infection movie, all set at a storage facility, and it's ridiculous. And it's got Vanessa Redgrave too. But I reviewed it on the February 13th episode as well, so go back and check both of those reviews out there. Also, I believe this is on Criterion. You can pick this up, which is absolutely perfect for this release because it is Park Chan-wook. It is No Other Choice, a film that was absolutely snubbed in all foreign categories this year to an upsetting degree. It was Chloe's #1 film of last year. And we both gave it a thorough review on the January 9th episode. And we also talked about it on our VIF blog from last year. And Dracula, Luc Besson's crack at Dracula, where he tries to out Coppola to baffling degrees. But I won't go into it too much further because it'll just kind of piss me off. But you can go to that February 13th episode as well and check out that review, as long as there's two other better films. And finally, Wuthering Heights. As of record date today, I just got my copy. It is in my hands now. And I was, warmer on this film than I feel a lot of people were. And, I'm still holding fast to that because it's, in my opinion, Emerald Fennell kind of doing whatever the fuck she wants. But I gave it a full review on the February 20th episode, so check it out there. All right, we're drawing to a close here for this week. What am I going to talk about next week? Yes, next week, it's all about Mortal Kombat 2, baby. That's the kickoff, as I'm hoping for a lot of fun. I enjoyed the first time around. Getting some actual gore in a Mortal Kombat live action film is something that I feel like I've been waiting my whole video game life for. So here we are. Also, and I may or may not have just seen it at the mystery screening last night, but The Sheep Detectives is going to be out for people to see. And, I got some fun thoughts about that film. I had no idea it was by the guy who directed Minions. That was baffling news. I'm hopefully going to be able to check out the new concert film, Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft, The Tour 3D, directed by James Cameron. What? It's so weird. Peter Hujar's Day is going to be out on Blu-ray, so I'm hoping to get my eyeballs on that film as well, because I've heard very, very good things. And finally, on Netflix, Sally Field, Lewis Pullman. I mean, are they two more likable lead actors starring in a film called Remarkable Bright Creatures? And I'm definitely here for that. But that brings us to a close here. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Blue Sky at The Stevel Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
You can also find all of the episodes for this show on stevestebbing.ca or go to the YouTube page and please like and subscribe. You can also find us on shiftheads.ca. You can hear me a few different places. First, on After the Credits with Marina, Bill, and Melissa. You can find those episodes at atcpod.ca. You can also hear me on Tremble, the Horror Podcast with Kurt and Taylor. You can find those episodes at 3angrynerds.com. And you can also hear me now on Kelowna's AM 1150 every Friday just after the 8:30 news break. And you can also hear me on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Toronto's News Talk 1010, found on the iHeartRadio network. You can also get all of those episodes wherever you get your favorite podcast. And that does it for us. We've emptied out our list for this week, so until next week, bye-bye.